give a brief recap of what happened in the short video of What If Supergirl and Goku Had a Job. Basically, Supergirl's pod had ended up landing in a time vortex, which teleported her to the Time Nest. She eventually became a member of the Time Patrol and fell in love with Xeno Goku, which they then parented a child named Gohanna L, the first ever Saiyan Kryptonian hybrid, and could go golden and transform and stuff like that, but not Super Saiyan. However, this time, she has a little brother named Rayo Vegeta, or just Ray. Rayo is also a hybrid. However, he hates using his Saiyan side because he's been on enough missions to know that the Saiyans were very cruel and pompous people. However, in many universes, the Supreme Kai notices that certain races and things does not come into existence, or does come into existence. Like the Kryptonians, they are vastly powerful, which makes sense. They should be able to survive almost any condition. They should be able to make it through, and some of them even start wars with the Saiyans in some universes. However, most of them don't even have Kryptonians, which is interesting. However, the Supreme Kai Time is noticing that each universe has like its own multiversal timeline thing. However, she also notices that certain people aren't even from the multiverse that they're seeing. They're seeing like a quarter of it. There are about 3 other quarters of it that they haven't seen, and they've been hopping and skipping through time, finding ways to stop them, which is where Gohanna L and Rayo fought against Mira, who was battling Super Saiyan Blue Goku and a Time Patroller, but they also discovered a new timeline which led to their newest friend being on the team. He is a Ben Tennyson from a alternate universe where he always kept, when the watch landed on Earth, the watch was the Ultra Matrix, and it only had a certain amount of aliens on him, and he can't get no more and he can't get no less. So, but he can always go ultimate with them. However, Rayo found him, and his world was just gone, and he had no memory as to why, but he did have the watch, and he tried to defend himself from whatever had happened. So he joined the Time Patrol, and this is we'll call him Xeno 10, because I don't want to call him Ben the whole time. Xeno 10 is best friends with Rayo and Gohanna, and they go on missions together frequently. They're like the second highest elite next to the Time Patrollers, and now the Supreme Kai of Time, Krona, is wanting to know, why are these other universes popping up? Why is this multiverse much, much bigger than what I thought? Maybe she even has the thought that maybe she only sees a quarter or a half or a third of the multiverse, and she starts thinking, well, the Supreme Kai of Time is linked to a Hakaishin, who's linked to an angel. Maybe she has a Hakaishin, maybe she has an angel. They just haven't met yet. Which gets her thinking. However, she doesn't have too much time to think, as Xeno 10, Gohanna L, and Rayo all come in for their next mission. Which, to give a little character building, Gohanna L is very proud and pompous and battle-hardened by her Saiyan side. However, she could be kind-hearted in certain situations. However, she is very strong. She's almost as strong as her father, and she even achieved a form she calls Super Saiyan Love, which is Rose, and she is stronger than her father. However, she sort of looks down on him for not wanting to tap into Super Saiyan God. However, Goku and her always share a great bond. Anyway, Rayo is very interested in Kryptonians, and from the limited knowledge he has, he feels really bad for him, and he can go Super Saiyan, but he does not like to transform. He hates to transform. But he is very smart and calculated. But Xeno 10 is the same way, except he's also like, hey, if a lot of people got to die in order for a lot more people to survive, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. They're gonna die, and he's like the default team leader because he'll make the tough choices. However, Kronika is like, okay, cool, y'all are going to go on a mission. And she's sending them to a timeline where the Saiyans in this timeline are being taken over by an evil ruler in this timeline, which is also Kryptonian, and she figures, hey, they could infiltrate and take them down from the inside out, stop the time warps, and then reset the timeline, and things will go as normal, or at least get as close as they can to it. So everybody suits up, and Rayo is specifically excited for it because he gets to see his people, his race. He wants to know about them. He wants to learn about them. And so they all open a scroll and then teleport. The team arrives in this timeline, and they obviously need to have some camouflage, and they're like, and so they use the device on their wrists, courtesy of the Time Nest, and alter their costumes and whatnot, and have them look as a normal Kryptonian attire. And since two of them are Kryptonian, they can just blend in. However, the one thing that they need to have is a way to get in. So Xeno 10 transforms into a Saiyan, and then they pretend to knock him out and take him to a Kryptonian holdout. Basically, the war has certain points, and the Kryptonians are mining there, and they learn that they're here to take the minerals from planet Vegeta, which happen to contain kryptonite, which is highly deadly to the Kryptonians, but very valuable on the market. And what the Kryptonians value most, especially due to the leader Rao, is power. And Rao is even up above a spaceship as we speak. And remember, the Kryptonians are whooping the Saiyans because they only have the grade A transformation at the moment, and there was only one person to achieve Super Saiyan, and that was Bardock. And he did it because he protected planet Vegeta and managed to kill himself, but also kill Frieza, saving the planet. Either way, they have taken over, and the Kryptonians are now, molly-whopping these Saiyans. And basically, they're in this holdout for weeks and weeks and weeks. And eventually, like Rayo Vegeta, the son of Goku and Supergirl, he is loving this. He's loving the technology. He's loving learning about his people. He's growing close to them. He's tapping into his Kryptonian roots. And eventually, they all get a intermission from the sun god Rao, the guy who runs the whole joint. Basically, hey, we need to speed it up. We're going to mine faster. Take your slave Saiyans, push them underground and make them mine faster, get the minerals, send it back up to me, and then we're gonna bail. We're gonna destroy the planet. Basically, since the mineral helps power the entire planet, if they take it, it'll destroy it. So Rayo Vegeta's like, okay, screw this. We're gonna go. Basically, they've been here for weeks now, so they know the customs. He hijacks one of the planes or one of the ships and goes up to where Rao is, and he's gonna try to talk to him. And Rao knows that he's going to do this. So, and he's been informed by a mysterious force working behind the scenes. He's like, hey, this is the guy. You need to try to convince him, or at least find a way to push him to be more Kryptonian-like and less Saiyan-like. So, Rao obviously lets his guards know, hey, screw y'all, go away. I'm going to have a conversation with this quote-unquote intruder. And then they have Gohanna L and now she breaks out Xeno 10, and he transforms into a Kryptonian to blend in, and then goes in, and they're like, okay, we're going to try to save as many Saiyans as we can and try to help them fend off the Kryptonians until Rayo gets back. It doesn't help that the fact that Gohanna Hell is witnessing one side of her people being completely tortured and torn down. And yes, she gets it. The Saiyans are horrible people, but she still wants to protect them from the Kryptonians. No one deserves to be like that. She just wishes she could find a world where they get along and they could make something beautiful. Maybe there is a descendant that they're both linked to and just not acknowledging yet. Either way, they continue on with their mission. Things pop off. Man, do they pop off. Gohanna goes Super Saiyan Love and is able to easily keep up with the Kryptonians, even dozens of them at the same time. However, they do start to get overwhelming if it wasn't for the fact Xeno 10 was there. And if push came to shove, he could simply just tap his Omnitrix symbol and go ultimate and become the ultimate Kryptonian and whoop everybody. But we don't get to see that, as they're too strong, and eventually Gohanna lands there and turns Super Saiyan, and lies to the Saiyans and tells them that she is a descendant of the Golden Warrior who saved them from the tyrant Frieza, and now she has come back undercover and has come to save the Saiyans and give them a fighting chance to take their home back from the Kryptonians. And eventually, as she's giving this speech, she drops to her knees because she feels the effects of the kryptonite, because they're way deep in the core, and she's starting to feel it. But she ignites her Super Saiyan and goes Super Saiyan 3 temporarily and tells them that it's time that they push the limits of what a Saiyan can do. And she lends a lot of her power to the Saiyans. Since they're not weak to kryptonite, she lends like a lot of it. And they all immediately erupt into Super Saiyan and soar up and go against the Kryptonians and even erupt from there. And she is like, oh yeah, now they got an army. Well, now Xeno 10 is also suffering from the effects, and he switches from Kryptonian and he knows that he doesn't want to get instigated in the fight, but he also knows that he doesn't want to leave Gohan and L here to die, so he turns way big and grabs Gohana and lunges from the ground, which causes a commotion, yes, but he simply reverts to a bunny-like transformation we will call Jackrabbit, and grabs her and makes an escape to find Rayo, which Gohana thinks highly of Zeno and tells him that he made a smart decision. However, Zeno didn't just fight the Kryptonians while he was in his own Kryptonian state. He set bombs around, and so they're going to go off, and they just collapse the entire mine. So now the Kryptonians are like more exposed to the kryptonite, which gives the Saiyans a fighting chance, but it's still going to be tough. So it's not just like, oh, well, the Saiyans have an upper hand now, they're going to murder him. No. It's even. And this is long enough for them to keep him busy. And then using the Omnitrix, he transforms into feedback and uses some of the electrical energies and launches them both up to the ship where Rayo and Rao are talking, which is where we cut to Rayo talking. As we see Rayo and Rao talking, Rao tells them that he knows what he's here for. He's going to ask him to passively stop the invasion and pull out. And Rayo says, yes, how did he know? And Rao tells him that he would never do it for the Filthy Saiyans. However, since he is a Kryptonian and his alternate descendant, he will make an exception, which Rayo questions, what? And Rao confirms that Rayo is a descendant of his, however, albeit an alternate timeline, alternate universe, that kind of stuff. Which is where we see that Rayo have an existential crisis and asking, like, how does Rao know about this stuff? He shouldn't be able to. He shouldn't even know that they're time patrollers, which Rao also knows. Rao tells him that when he supercharged all his soldiers, he gave them a yellow sun collar. It would give them power as long as he wills it. And he gave himself a blue sun collar, which makes him infinitely stronger. He is the strongest Kryptonian, since blue sun gives Kryptonians more energy than the normal yellow, which makes Rayo think, then what was the point of telling him that? He's like, he offers one to him. He's like, let that collar tap more into his Kryptonian roots. He will pull back the invasion. He will stop all of this. All Rayo has to do is take the collar. He'll leave him alone and whatnot. And Rayo asks, why is he doing this? And Rao says, what kind of great descendant would he be if he just let his descendant come in here and just gain nothing from him? He is the god of Kryptonians for a reason. And Rayo asked him, how does he know about all this? He says that he's been motivated by a higher power to take care of things in this universe. Go ahead, reset it. He won't remember a thing, but he assures Rayo that he'll be back, that they will be back to this timeline very soon. He can bet on it. Rayo then takes the collar, a blue sun collar, and puts it on. And then, just as feedback and Gohana get there, Rayo tells him, nope, fight's over. And Rao tells him, good. He pulls back his forces and leaves the Saiyan planet alone, and Rayo says that if he does invade again, he'll be back to stop him, and Rao says, oh, he knows. And then they activate a device to reset the timeline back to normal, which we see that Rao forget everything. The Saiyans and the Kryptonians have no knowledge of each other, and they're on different sides of the universe. Then everyone leaves the time nest, which as we see Rao somehow keeping his memories, and a mysterious cosmic voice asking him, is the job done? And Rao says, yes, it went better than expected. He's in his head. Now it is time for them to start phase 2, which the mysterious being nods and says that yes. Anyway, after that we get to see that Gohana and Rayo arrive on the time nest, and then Xeno 10 is the last one to arrive after a short glitch. They then talk about this, and Rayo sympathizes with the Kryptonians, and Rao and Gohana tells him that she sympathizes with the Saiyans. And Rayo argues that the Kryptonians are not bad people. They were just governed by a bad person, and therefore they had to follow that. They could lose their powers and die in space. They could get killed by him instantly with the powers. And Gohana argues that the Saiyans are innocent people. They're just primates. They need to be nurtured and need to be trained. And Rayo says that that is the way of the Kryptonians. They will lead the universe in a better way. And Gohana hits a hard spot and a soft spot and tells him that is that why almost none of them exist in all throughout this multiverse. And Rayo tells him that she's half Kryptonian too, and that's why most of the Saiyans become extinct, don't they? Leaving them both to get into an argument and leave, leaving Xeno 10 in a hard spot. Xeno goes to talk to Rayo, and Supergirl flies over to Supergirl and Goku fly over to Gohana to talk to her. Gohana tells her parents about what she said and did, and tells them that she's sorry. She didn't mean it like that. It was just that Rayo made her so mad, and after seeing what they did, I mean, he could freaking turn Super Saiyan. Why would he say that about the Saiyans and upstage the Kryptonians? Goku tries to input, but Supergirl tells him that no, she'll handle this. The Kryptonians weren't as good a people as she thinks they were. They were cruel. They invaded planets. They got knowledge, and then they destroyed planets. They even made one of the smartest beings in the universe that turned out to be evil. Brainiac. I mean, come on now. The Kryptonians aren't the most perfect people. Are they as bad as the Saiyans? Possibly. And they share very similar origins and powers and whatnot, but there's no reason to shame the other or condemn the other when the other race is doing the exact same thing. And it's not fair. I mean, Goku and Kara isn't bad people, and guess what? Is she going to condemn them because the majority is bad and they are not? And Gohana says no, that don't really seem fair, and Kara says right, and tells her to go and do as she pleases, but remember that not everyone is bad. Not just because most people can be bad doesn't mean that all people can be that bad. And then Kara tells her to do as she pleases. And then Goku says that if she's still frustrated by something Rayo said, they could train a little bit, and Gohana tells Goku that, silly Goku, you know that I'm stronger than you with my God Ki being bestowed upon me. I did train with an alternate Goku Black after all. And Goku says he knows, but he feels like he could keep up. He then erupts into Super Saiyan 3 and Super Saiyan 4, and she turns Super Saiyan Love, and they go in and begin training for a while to get out the aggression, which other people in Kanton City, which is the city next to the time nest, are able to feel the shockwaves of this battle. Even Mutaro and Keltapet and a couple other individual time patrollers can feel this. and they make note of it and know instantly that this is Goku and Gohana training. Meanwhile, Rayo and Xeno 10 are talking, and Rayo says that everyone misunderstands him. He just feels that the Kryptonians know the best way to go is obviously what they've been doing. They conquer a planet, but they keep the planet alive. They just don't let it grow too strong that it might overthrow them. It's doing it for their own good. Well, Xeno 10 actually agrees with him. He's like, yeah, they're doing it for all the right reasons. And I mean, maybe Rao wasn't as bad as he may have seemed. And Rayo says that maybe he's right, but there's nothing you can do about it now. He's still furious at his sister for what he said. And Xeno 10 makes the idea, well, why not apologize together and then go out and secretly help the Kryptonians, let them repopulate the multiverse, and then they could help build things up better. They could even surpass the Supreme Kai of Time and make it the Kryptonian of Time and make things better and hold it with not with an iron fist, but give some more freedom and leniency and whatnot and have more order. I mean, the Supreme Kai of Time is going through a midlife crisis because she can't figure out who her Hakaishin and Angel are, which is kind of important. Rayo says that he's right and shakes his hand and says he's always been such a good friend to him. And Xeno 10 says so they'll try to lead the Kryptonians better and help them. And Rayo says yes. And then Kara shows up and is immediately ready to be like, oh, well, Rayo, it's okay, la la la. Well, it's actually Rayo's like, it's okay, Mom, what I said was wrong, la 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 la. And then Rayo goes and apologizes to his sister, and they make up, quote unquote. And Xeno 10 smiles as we then take a further step back and see that other time patrollers, the so-called Shadow Saiyans, are having a hard time out in space against one of the universal barriers, as we can see a war's going on next to this universe, and it's like, hey, the barrier's just been lifted. The person who ran the joint and kept everybody out, they've left, and now Xeno and Daishinkan of this timeline are going to try to invade and destroy it, and the Supreme Kai of Time says no, she's going to take care of it, and heads off to that timeline. And we see that this timeline is actually the one where we saw future Goku and Goku meet, which is a video of mine. You can find it. I will link it in the video. It is What If Goku Trained for 2 million years. It's actually really good in my opinion. Either way, but that's where we're going to leave off for now.